Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session, Modern Digital Marketing Tools, Innovations, and Growth Opportunities. First, before we get started with our wonderful panel here, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mike Nicole. I am a radio presenter for Saudi Radio FM. I am also an expat of the country for about 14 years now, and I'm very passionate about creating a safe space for the expats of the country, living their best life in KSA. And I am proud also to say that I am the first Western expat radio host for Saudi Radio FM. We have a distinguished panel of speakers and experts here today, and I would like to, before I introduce them, for you all to welcome them with a warm round of applause. Today's discussion is all about exploring the cutting-edge tools and innovations that are reshaping the digital marketing landscape. We'll dive into ways that programmatic advertising, AI technologies, and data-driven strategies are transforming how brands connect with their audiences. As we move forward, we'll also look at exciting growth opportunities in the Middle East and beyond, and explore how traditional media can adapt to these advancements. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our amazing panel here today of expert speakers. Starting with Mr. Bender Al-Mashahadi at the end of me. Mr. Bender, welcome. Mr. Bender is the CEO of Media Rating Company, MRC, with over 25 years of experience in engineering, media, and telecommunications. Mr. Bender leads MRC in revolutionizing Saudi media through advanced data measurement services. He holds a Bachelor's of Science in Aerospace Engineering and attended Harvard Business School's Senior Executive Leadership Program. Welcome again, Mr. Bender, to the stage. We're honored to have you. And next on this beautiful panel that we have is Mr. Rafal Radouik. Mr. Rafal, we're going to move on to you. Or maybe we can switch places. What do you think? Oh, this is, okay.
It's okay.
Well, we're gonna go about it. It's going to be a discussion, a little bit more flowy than expected. Anyways, let's move on to Mr. Rafal Radouik. Mr. Rafal, if you could raise your hand. Here he is. He is an entrepreneur revolutionizing digital advertising as the CEO of Adspective, where he pioneers dynamic virtual product placement. He also leads Vestigit, leveraging AI watermarking and combating digital piracy. With his expertise in ad tech, content protection, and cybersecurity, he empowers media platforms, creators, and advertisers through cutting-edge innovations. Welcome, Mr. Rafal. Thank you for joining the panel.
Thank you.
Mr. Luke Chenier. Mr. Luke is a Canadian citizen and CEO of the Kyiv Post in Ukraine, which is the oldest and most reputable English news in Eastern Europe that reaches a global audience that is 97% outside of the Ukraine. We are so honored to have you, Mr. Luke. Thank you for joining us. And last, but definitely not least, Shri Sanjay Jaju. I want to give a special thank you to you, Mr. Sanjay, for being here because I heard that you have a flight to catch this afternoon, and you are one busy man. So thank you so much for coming and being a part of this panel today. Mr. Sanjay is a Secretary of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in India. As the 1992 Indian Administrative Service Officer, Mr. Jaju has extensive experience in diverse sectors, including defense, IT, and infrastructure. Notably, he led key initiatives in defense innovation, infrastructure development, earning the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration. Again, warm welcome to you, Mr. Sanjay.
Thank you.
Now, please, if you could all welcome them one more time with a big round of applause, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so in this panel, we will be starting off, and mostly because we are limited in time, we are going to be doing a Q&A for all of our panelists here today. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with Mr. Bender on the far end of me. Mr. Bender, you ready? Okay. As the CEO of MRC, you're driving the use of reliable content consumption data in Saudi Arabia. What role does MRC play in ensuring the accuracy and efficiency of programmatic ad placements?
Mike, please. Yes. Thank you. يعطيكم العافية جميعا. Thanks for attending, and thank you, Mika, for this interesting introduction. At MRC, we are so proud to be the only Saudi company that actually does media measurement. And we are focused at the moment on TV for both satellite and digital. You can watch YouTube, as a lot of people do now, and Shahid, Netflix, all these programs, and we're happy that we're able to measure that. So from a digital perspective, we're also very proud to give transparent data, very accurate data, and also we're trying to be very close to the industry to ensure that all the requirements are captured. So we are not kind of in the old-fashioned way of doing things. And we'll talk a bit later about the other programs. But transparency, being efficient minute by minute and on a daily basis is what we are so proud to provide, yes.
Thank you for that insight. That's great. It's great to hear that we have you here in Saudi Arabia leading the way for many businesses, I'm sure, to come as well. Mr. Luke.
Oh, yes.
As the CEO of Kyiv Post, how do you see programmatic advertising reshaping media, the media industry, especially for high-impact publications like Kyiv Post?
I'm going to try and answer this very, as I was saying to you earlier, I'm the CEO of the company, and when I came into Kyiv Post, it was 3 years ago that I took over, and it was the most basic website that did not have programmatic. It was working with Google, basic Google services, and it was doing that. And so when I came in, we had to, because of the, I'm trying to watch my words here because I promised I wouldn't get into politics, but we were, let's say that we were attacked not only on the ground, but also in a cyber way, in a very big way, that our sites were being taken down consistently. What happened at that point is that we were forced to completely scrap the entire content side of our site on what it was and to rebuild it from the ground up for security reasons. But at the same time, this gave us a chance to say that 97% that to go more into the United States, more into Europe, because we are Ukraine's global voice. Based on that, we couldn't continue with the simple Google services. We needed to grow more to reach people in the United States and all that, so therefore programmatic came in. Now, as I told you earlier, and I'm going to make a confession, I am not a programmatic expert, but I do understand and I know what the future is and how that we need to move forward, and I have the vision on where it needs to go. But I'm also smart enough to hire extremely smart people who do that. So the future for us is that if 60% of our audience was in the United States and another 35 was in Europe, we can't do that. We can't be handling this. It has to be a stock market, and it has to be handled automatically very, very quickly, especially with the quick changing systems on what the people are looking at, what they're looking for. And as you've seen in the last 2 days, our whole media buy is completely shifting now in the United States to what is happening in a sense. So without programmatic, there is no way that we could actually move forward. So if you want to be a local market, that's one thing. But if you want to strictly be on a global market, it's impossible. You have to have the stock exchange, as I call it, handling everything for you. I don't know if I'm answering your question correctly, but okay. So that is the way. What excites me now most, but also scares me, is the personalization of programmatic and how AI is going to affect this personalization and that. And this is something that's going to radically shift, and hopefully AI will be used in the good way that's going to be accurate and not have 6 fingers on one hand is what I like to joke rather than the accurate 5. So we still have to keep what we're doing. So sorry, I'm kind of...
Well, we're really happy to have your perspective.
Thank you.
We can't all be doing the same thing here, or there'd be no reason for us all four to be up here at the same time. So your perspective is very appreciated. Thank you for that. And speaking of AI, we have the next panelist who is very much familiar with AI, Mr. Rafal at Adspective. You're revolutionizing digital advertising with dynamic virtual product placement, right? So could you explain how this works and why it's becoming such an essential tool for advertisers today?
Based on our experience during the last 10 years in media industry, we saw, and we need to be transparent, the ads are broken. I broken, you broken, because we hate ads.
Yeah.
We skip it. That's why we try to find solution how to present the ads directly in content without interruption seamlessly to the users. So we analyze the spots in the video, in the content, looking for the empty spaces like walls, tables, bus station. With also the plan, the first plan. Based on this, we could prepare some scoring of the space, where we can insert the campaign from the brands. Thanks to this, and also with this kind of solution, transparent solution like the Mr. Banta, we can targeting the users with the right ads directly to them. So thanks to this, users don't need to skip the ads and have a better engagement for watching their content, their favorite content.
We appreciate you for that. That's very important. As someone who is watching those ads every single day, you're right. We don't want to see them, and the more that you're able to infiltrate them into this whole system and make it less visual, I guess you could say, but at the same time stick, is a really important position to have. So thank you, Mr. Rafal, for your answer. I would like to have Mr. Sanjay explain your role as Secretary of Information Broadcasting in India. Can you tell us about the advertising industry in India and how you view the rise of programmatic or just advertising in general?
Yeah, thank you, Mika. Yes, of course, the media and entertainment industry has only two ways it can sustain itself. The revenues that come either from subscriptions or coming in from advertisements, right? So advertisements have a huge role in the growth of the media and entertainment enterprise, and that's why we consider advertisements to be part of this overall landscape of media and entertainment. Now, if you look at our country, we're talking about programmatic ads. Digital advertising has now almost has taken over the principal share of the overall advertising pie, just like in rest of the world. Most of these ads are flowing in through the tech measures broadly, and so it's growing at a brisk pace. It has huge opportunities in terms of growth, but at the same time it also has challenges for the traditional media. And as policymakers, our principal focus is to provide what you call a level playing field and a sustainable path for various segments of advertisements, including the digital advertising. And that's what we intend to do in terms of our policies. At the same time, we also have to be kind of mindful of the fact that there are also challenges with digital advertising, especially now that technology is also disrupting this entire segment. But at the same time, it also has huge opportunities, especially for the smaller and medium enterprises who were earlier not really getting the advantage coming in from the advertising. Now, with the help of technology and programmatic advertisements, many of these smaller players, the smaller enterprises, are able to leverage the digital advertising and are able to make productive gains. So it's always a matter of balancing the consumer interests and the interests of the industry when it comes to doing policy making, especially in a huge country like India.
Thank you very much. You're right, there are a lot of challenges that come with it, and we're going to be discussing that very soon. But first, let's talk about the benefits of programmatic advertising before we step into the challenges, starting with Mr. Bender. With MRC being the sole licensed provider for viewership data in Saudi Arabia. Wow. What an accomplishment. What advice would you give to advertisers looking to maximize the benefits of programmatic advertising in the kingdom, Mr. Bender?
I think it really varies between finding out what is the marketable population that you're targeting, what is this product trying or whom it's trying to reach, where is that kind of demographic watching that content, and what sort of acceptable manner of advertisement he or she would, link or relate to. Rafai mentioned being smarter about targeting the ads to prevent the skipping of ads or the flipping between channels, and I kind of agree on that. TV to us is still considered to be a very important asset, especially in the holy month of Ramadan. There's a huge amount of co-viewing going on, and definitely on the Arabic content. So advertisers with their agencies needs to understand who's watching what and how can they reach them, and try to limit the skipping of ads. But also I think they have to be smarter to combine between what's happening on TV and what's happening on the smart devices. So compounded reach becomes a major player there. And how can you make it much more easier for that potential purchaser to purchase the service or the product that you're talking about?
Very insightful. Thank you so much, Mr. Bender. Mr. Luke?
Yeah.
So I know that you hired a bunch of people to do, but I also know that you are a very intelligent man, and what I know so far of you.
Thank you.
And just being the CEO of such a large business says so for itself. But I would just like to know, with your international audience, right, what are some unique challenges that you have, or excuse me, unique challenges global media companies face with programmatic advertising in general, and how are you overcoming this with Kyiv Post?
Well, sorry. First of all, thanks for, I should record you calling me very intelligent. I'll give that to my wife to remind her. Look, Kyiv Post is on the content creation side of news on a daily business. And that means that it shifts consistently from minute to minute, especially these days, as you've all seen in the news, it's shifting minute by minute on what's happening. Originally, we were Ukraine's global voice for the diaspora and for people living abroad. But now that Ukraine has become such a geopolitical point, and for different reasons, from Europe to North to the Baltics to the United States to Canada, and now with all the shifts that are happening, it's impossible for us to do guaranteed placement with anybody, basically on guaranteeing them you're going to get X amount of millions of impressions on doing that. So now it's more of a private marketplace where we are trying to say what we are willing to accept, what we're not willing to accept, and we get approached by a lot of gambling companies consistently because they want our market. But now the shift is, how do we put the right advertising in the right audiences at the right time based on everything that's happening with Ukraine today, with the constant shifts? There's nothing as predictable. And without programmatic, there's no way to guarantee to a client, well, we can give you this positioning and we can give you that much, because they can place an ad, but 20 minutes later, it's an irrelevant ad and it's actually, no, take it off. So thank God for programmatic that it switches very, very quickly on what's going on. And even programmatic is becoming an issue for us because a lot of major companies globally, while we have the audience and we have the subjects and multiple, they are afraid to associate because there's that element of war. So companies like Visa they want to be apolitical. There's a lot of companies that are doing that. So the challenges are the fast-changing market, fast-changing subjects, and guaranteeing, and a lot of companies that 1 minute are very interested and the next minute don't want to be a part of it because this could become an issue for them. And then 2 days later, oops, we love you, Kyiv Post, we want to be back with you. But at least programmatic gives them that feeling that they can change very, very quickly. So That's the challenge. In the news media, it's, I used to be in advertising, by the way. I love advertising, and being in the news media has really challenged my thinking on how media is done.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to Mr. Rafal. I have a question for you. You're tackling digital piracy through AI watermarking with Vistigit. How does this tech help protect content, and why is it so crucial for advertisers?
I start from your second question. One sentence, because when the brands lose the trust, they trust the money. They lose the money. When we chasing the pirates in illegal website, we saw how many brands also they have their placement there. So thanks to AI watermark, we can add invisible watermark directly in content, which is robustness and is individual for each user. So based on this, we can extract this watermark and tell our clients who stole the content. So thanks to this, also we can secure the brand's value where we find these brands on this illegal website. Because if I am a user who watched the illegal content and I see the brands, so I'm thinking, if the brands don't care about the credibility, why I should pay for this brand or for the access for the platform? This is the biggest problem. And this is connected because the pirates not only generate their revenue from illegal streaming, they generate revenue from the ads directly.
Do you see this increasingly as a challenge in Saudi Arabia, or do you feel that in time it's decreasing?
This is global problem. It's not the only problem in Saudi Arabia, but this is the global problem because still for the clients, this kind of security solution is their cost, not revenue. So always security is in the end of their budgets. This is the biggest challenge, to change or show clients how they lose the money and in which direction, also for the brands, and in how they can secure these brands.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Sanjay, moving on to you. With your background in policy, how can the government ensure ethical, transparent advertising while fostering growth in India?
No, it's fairly important. You know, I'm the one of those who've actually on the other side of the fence, not issuing programmatic ads. Also, we also do it from our own perspective in the government, because we do issue advertisements where we try to communicate to the citizens the importance of various government programs and schemes. But on the other side, when it comes to regulation, you know, now the world has really moved far and ahead. I mean, you had 50 years back only print ads, then moved to television, and now you have the digital media and you have the programmatic ads coming in. Now, in a print ad situation, you can always enforce a code of conduct so that, you know, there are sufficient safeguards which are built into place, and the publisher of an advertisement can be held responsible for what he does. But as you go along, you need to devise, and we have in our country devised something called as an advertisement code. An advertisement code does provide certain do's and don'ts for advertisers and publishers of advertisement content. And we expect our broadcast channels to adhere to the advertisement code. And we also have similar expectations now from the digital advertisements that come in. But there are challenges, because, you know, sometimes many of these advertisements are coming in a camouflaged manner. They're coming in from offshore accounts. Now, how do we block them? There are, in many cases, ads which are built in surreptitiously, promoting illegal activities like, say, for example, betting or even cyber crimes. So there are a whole lot of challenges which come in now that the digital technologies are taking over the advertisement space. So I think there is a need for a firm advertisement code, which we have been underscoring in our country. And I think targeted advertisements, but with certain reasonable restrictions, is what we understand in our country is the way forward.
Excellent. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Bender. We're just, sorry if it sounds like I'm just chopping through these questions, but there's so much information to gain through this panel. It's such a diverse panel, and I want to try to suck as much as I can out of each and every one of you, so that our audience as well is happy about that. So let's move on to Mr. Bender, if you don't mind. With MRC Sole Access to viewership data in KSA, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing with advertisers in programmatic space today?
I guess it's important to set the scene that one of the benefits we provide is for the advertisers to understand how they can reach their viewers. The issue is for the advertisers, so what happens after that? How can you measure the moving from watching an ad or a content to actually purchasing? That issue is always a problem. The other problem is finding the right content and investing into the right content. We've noticed that in Saudi, 80% of the population watch Arabic content. And recently, yes, the Arabic content has increased in its quality, in its diversity, in its beauty, really. But that takes time. More investment needs to go into that content where people will be watching a content that would help. I think the other big challenge is we have multiple channels over the skies of the Middle East, definitely over Saudi. And as such, you have kind of a fragmentation of what's taking place in terms of channels. I'm not suggesting that we need to put it all, bundle it into one, but I think with our data, companies will understand how they can actually work together rather than against each other, and try to compensate and complement each other to be able to reach and provide content. Our viewers have the right to demand good content, and if you don't provide them with relatable and good content, forget it, it's not going to happen.
That's exciting for the future. So I'm also excited to ask you the next question about the future of MRC and just Saudi Arabia in this department as well. But we're going to move on to Mr. Luke. Mr. Luke, from your position at Kyiv Post, what do you see are the main risks for advertisers in programmatic ads, particularly around data privacy and fraud?
Oh, God, that's a loaded question.
Kind of off of what you were mentioning earlier.
I don't know how accurately I can do that. I mean, in terms of, like I was saying earlier, what worries me is we witnessed, and I don't know if I'm answering this correctly, but I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. When I took over Kyiv Post 3 years ago and the war started, there was an intense amount of cyber hacking that were going into the systems across the board, across Ukraine, media, news, everything to basically shut it down or to influence it. Now with AI coming into the mix, what is worrying me a bit is that how accurate is the information that will actually go into that. And are we really safe from any data breaches or whatever? How safe is it, and will that affect? Am I going to wake up one morning and find out that I have cigarette and I have alcohol, that I got pornography ads all over my website, and this came from because the system got hacked? And right now, I don't know. But when I don't know, I don't have all the answers on that, but it makes me nervous. How secure is the system? I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does, especially from your perspective, or from an amateur's perspective. But thankfully, we have Mr. Rafad right next to you that I'm going to be asking a couple of questions in regards to this challenge that you're faced with Kyiv Post. So, Mr. Rafal, what are the biggest hurdles in programmatic advertising, especially in terms of transparency, fraud, and data privacy? And how can advertisers address these challenges?
What do I even start? The transparency. This is the first this problem, because we put a lot of ads in the same place and we wait for the success. We don't have a transparency. Data privacy. We live in the third-party data cookies. So, and based in the cookies, we have a lot of information about the users. So this is the second. So it should be replaced, for example, for first data privacy. Also the regulations regarding depend on the countries. This is also, in some part they are too regulated and some part of regions are, the regulations are not like they should be. So this is also the problem of the regulation. For example, on which hours we should put the right ads to, for example, secure our children directly with the rights, exactly, with the right ads directly, which is fit for them, not for the oldest people.
Okay, yeah, this is a big challenge, I think, for all of us here today. So I'm glad that we're touching base a little bit on it. And Mr. Sanjay, with your expertise in governance, how can AI and emerging technologies be integrated into the regulation of digital advertising in India?
No, it's important. You know, this segment is getting heavily disrupted with technology. Now, you have the new animal in the room, which is the artificial intelligence. I think this will lead more and more to growth opportunities on one side, more productive returns on the investments that an advertiser does with personalized advertisements, hyper-local advertisements, and but it also has its own challenges, as was being mentioned by the earlier speaker. And I think we need, on the policy side, we have to be mindful of the fact that there are technologies shaping up. You have, influencers, whom you can call them as influencers or advertisers because they are the ones who are doing it on the social media platforms. You also have newer technologies like Web3, etc., which are also going to have a huge imprint on how you consume advertisements and how interactive and how immersive that experience could be. So there are a whole lot of challenges which are there, and it's important that we have a differentiated approach to digital advertisements rather than one vanilla approach that we used to apply in terms of an advertisement code across all the verticals of advertisements. A differentiated approach because the challenges here are unique. The opportunities that are coming in our way are also unique in that way. So a differentiated approach obviously would help policymakers balance the interests of the advertisers and the interests of the consumers and public at large. I think there are three interests that we are trying to manage when it comes to crafting an advertising code.
Excellent. Well, we covered many benefits and challenges over this session. But lastly, I'd like to ask one more question to our speakers here on stage, a little bit positive, a little bit more on the positive side. Let's talk about the future, right? So digital media is obviously taking place. It's the future, but it is also the present, very much the present. So let's dig a little bit deeper into what does the future hold for programmatic advertising, for digital marketing, and digital media in general. Mr. Bender, with your deep media experience, how does programmatic advertising align with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 goals, please?
It's nice that you mentioned the Vision 2030. I think it's important to understand that for the first time in the history of Saudi Arabia, the media measurement of the Saudi market is coming from Saudi Arabia. And to us, that's a very important moment. I'll say it in Arabic because we are so proud of it. لأول مرة في تاريخ المملكة قياس نسب المشاهدين بيطلع من داخل المملكة. وأعتقد هذا إنجاز كبير يعني والله الحمد. This happened because the leadership is supporting us. It aligns with Vision 2030. But the shift into digital is the crucial part. I think in terms of next step, yes, we've got the TV in home. That's now something we're looking at. We are also looking at the smart devices, the tablets. We're trying to understand what's the consumption there. We're going through a POC. End of Ramadan, inshallah, we'll understand how people watch content. And it was quite interesting because I've realized my kids in the house, they watch most of the programs on social media, which is very strange, series. Obviously, we're talking about digital in terms of websites and e-commerce and what have you. That's also in the pipeline. But I think this year, we want to focus on smart devices, and multi-screen, and we want to also start looking into digital audience measurement. This pretty much to me aligns with the hopes of Vision 2030 when we talk about how things are moving towards a digital life, yes.
Beautiful. And I'm excited to be a part of it and to see it throughout Saudi Arabia for Vision 2030 vision. It's just, there's so much going on, and it's really nice to get your insight on this area. So thank you again, Mr. Bender. Mr. Luke.
Yes.
So your last question is, how do you see the future of programmatic advertising on a global scale, especially for outlets like Kyiv Post?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm answering this correct again, but what I'm pleased about, since we've started our journey into programmatic advertising, and I think that we're still, my team would get very angry with me, but I think we're still novices at it, and we're still but I think all of us are in general, is that before we had a very strict audience on who was advertising with us, who it was reaching out, and who it was. It was very niche. It was very Ukraine, diaspora, political people, and that was it. But now with everything that's going on, it's expanded. It's brought the conversation. We've expanded more, and we're connecting more with brands that we would never see on our site, and we're actually offering more a meld of what is happening in Ukraine and major brands. So when the consumer sees this, or when the people see it, they see that we are truly a global brand, and we are actually speaking on the same level as they are. So I see that there's a huge possibility for us to expand, and I see for the world to get to know more what is happening about Ukraine, to have a better, and the main thing is a better experience. That is the main issue. Like, you don't want to be selling a lawnmower to somebody in the north. You know, you want to, so.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting for you in the future. We'll definitely keep an eye on you at Kyiv Post, especially myself, for the future, but good luck to you and all of you.
Appreciate
We're going to
the
go
support.
to Mr. Fad now. As the leader of digital innovation, how do you see programmatic advertising evolving in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
If the last decade was the programmatic evolution, the next will be correction. Why? Because advertiser, also the brands, don't want to honestly reports with the impressions. They want to see something more, like the brand awareness, like which users are getting, and will be the swipe directly for more non-intrusive ads, which collaborate directly with the content, directly with the digital content, than only they are put it for us likewise.
Exciting. Good stuff. All right, so the moment we have been waiting for in the last question that I'll be asking for this session, Mr. Sanjay, speaking on future of digital marketing. We hear that India is going to be organizing a World Audio Visual and Entertainment Summit, also known as WAVES, covering all the various elements of the media and entertainment sector. Can you please share more about WAVES with us before we finish the session?
Thanks for asking me that. As you pointed out, the World Audio Visual and Entertainment Summit is a vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, who actually looks at media and entertainment to be a very important component for, human development, country to country connect, culture to culture connect. And it's in this context that the World Audio Visual and Entertainment Summit is envisaged in Mumbai, starting 1st May. It will be a convergence event, a first of its kind event, which has all the verticals of media entertainment, be it the traditional television, radio, print, advertisements, or the films, the documentaries, the feature films, or the newer media, the social media, the OTT, or even the new enhanced brand of gaming, etc., which is also becoming part of this huge pie of media and entertainment. So WAVES will be providing an opportunity for policymakers, industry leaders to converge under one roof and discuss issues which are of common interest, discuss issues which have which hold opportunities and challenges for all of us. But at the primary level, Waves is actually going to be an event that will promote global harmony through meeting of minds, meeting of cultures, and all of one forum which provides opportunities for all of us to have meaningful conversations going forward.
Exciting, wonderful. We are going to be ending our session. Mr. Sanjay, you have a flight to catch as well. But that concludes our session for today. Thank you so much to the audience for taking part in this. And first of all, of course, thank you to all of the amazing speakers, experts that we have here on stage. And I hope that I speak for the rest of you when I say that for all of you who were listening, that you walk away from this with a little bit more knowledge and inspiration as you go throughout your lives. Enjoy the rest of Saudia Media Forum 2025. Thank you so much.